Daedalic is concentrating mostly on games that have a very detailed story, very detailed 2D graphics, and are now very well known that they carry on this torch of the classic adventure game. Before I came to Daedalic, I made 2 indie games myself. That's the reason why Poki and our boss Carsten trusted me with the task of making an adventure game, simply because I had done 2 by myself and the second one with friends, which were called What Makes You Tick and What Makes You Tick is Stitch in Time. And so a lot of that experience, also the knowledge I gained from that, and the stuff I wanted to try out and so on, the stuff that worked and that didn't work, also made it into this game and helped the game to be a little more sophisticated than if it had just been my first game. For me, it's not only a website, a portal where you can actually buy games, old or new. It's actually something like a museum, an archive, but you actually can touch the things and play with them. And so I think the wonderful thing about that is it's not only that it's available, but it's actually archiving and documenting the whole history of gaming. So strolling around on a portal like that is it's almost an honor to be there, simply because there's so many great good old game titles out there who've already been archived. That you can enter a fairy tale world and you can walk around there, you can talk to people, and you can actually get a story. To tell the story in a way that we can see how Jerry feels. And if you actually get taken away by a rabbit into a fantasy world, then the first thing you think, wow, this is fun. This is exciting, I want to do that. And but there are small hints that this might actually be also a dangerous journey, also could be a sad journey, but it should start out cheerful, because you have to build up something like a backdrop for whatever is coming next. It's always the negative and foreboding elements that creep into the positive world, which will be much more effective if you paint it on a canvas of positivity, and which means that the game starts out really positively, and we think, whoa, this is fun. It's nature. It's you have the size of a mouse. You walk around. It's fun. You talk to people. You talk to animals. You do these little tasks, and now and then you hear these stories when you're walking around Mousewood about people who disappeared, about strange crow attacks. You see some strangers standing around in the shadows and they tell you strange stuff. And all these things are much more effective, I believe, if they are appearing against the backdrop of something very positive. As we start out here in Jerry's home, the colors are still a little more realistic. They are very nice, but also just to build up a contrast between Jerry's home and the city. We've got young Jerry Hazelnut waking up, still 2 days of summer holidays left, and he's in the mood for adventuring. But of course, when you are 12 years old and you are in the mood for adventure, you run around your neighborhood and all these places you've been for so many times before, and there's just not so much adventure at hand. So, but of course in our case, the adventure will actually be of a different kind. It's not just make-believe, there's actually something happening. He's already starting to collect some blackberries for his mother, and which is not a big task, of course. If you manage to click around and if you are into all these things, then this is actually a task that you can do. But once you return to just help your mother to make the blackberry pie, something mysterious but fantastic happens. Just Let us look at it. Once Jerry finds the letter, he can open it and there's a poem inside. And from now on it gets mysterious. Who wrote the poem? What is it all about? It's about a carrot flame that Jerry has to produce. And he has to find things and mix them and in the end light it all on fire. But for me, one thing was very important for the game. I didn't have a hotspot function in my old indie games, simply because I was one of those guys who didn't use it, so I didn't want to give it the players. So, of course, when you work for a company like Daedalic, who's a little more mature about giving the player options, I realized, of course, we've got a tutorial to do, we've got the hotspot function and all these things. And I was thinking, okay, if I have to do this, this needs to be completely integrated into the game. The hotspot function is integrated in a way that the story goes in a way that Jerry gets a magic coin. He actually has the coin beforehand, but the Marquis de Hotto makes it magic. So when he looks through the hole in the coin, he can see magic iridescence. And he can see hotspots sparkling that might be interesting for him. The most important things for me are, first of all, if you've got 10 test players and they play it, they should be able to solve it by themselves. If there's a puzzle in there where you have to look up the walkthrough on the internet somewhere, then the puzzle is not well designed. And this is fun, even though it's very, very obvious. It's not a puzzle, but you've got a magic wand, you've got a top hat that's wiggling around.
Yes, you're the magician.
And you're the magician, yeah. So, I mean, even us, as people who are not that much into magic, as our pal Jerry is, should know what to do now. There's also a promise included in this first meeting, because Jerry, of course, as 12-year-olds has to be home for dinner, in time for dinner, and the Marquis at first tells Jerry that studying magic is going to take time, weeks, months, and of course, as you might have heard, we can switch between daytime and nighttime in the game, so there will be time passing. So, but also the Marquis promises Jerry will be home in time for dinner, and because nothing is impossible. We're going to a place that only the old tree walkers know. And even the skeptics, like Mr. Conrad Owl here, who believes that a tree walker is simply a person who does good and that's not connected to magic at all, will be witness to a strange situation that's coming up. We already get some more story hints on what's holding this world together at the very, very center. And we've got a strange machine here. And the images of the old tree walkers. You've always got a tree walker student and a tree walker teacher on these columns in the tree walker room. And in the middle you've got the statue of a first tree. A tree that's very, very old, so old that it's actually rooting in fantasy and stories and dreams. From the leaves of the first trees, we, as tree walkers, print magic cards. As I told you, they are important for the story in one way and in another way. The one way would be that Jerry will learn a lot about himself from the cards. And the other way is that we can actually look at the cards once we have them. And we can also find secret bonus cards in the game. If you play without pause, you should be about something like 15 hours. It's and that's not including the bonus content, so if you listen to those stories you will be up to 20. Making a project like this is always, of course, hardship in the middle, and there will be parts where you hate the project. And so it's very important that you've got something very that's very important for yourself to keep on holding on, to pushing on, and to actually tell the story till the end. And for us it was always that we started out with Jerry and getting him on his journey, and now we were doing the project, and we were getting into hard times, and we always told ourselves the big goal is to get Jerry home.